If you want to be a model, the smartest thing that you can do is hire a professional photographer who specializes in fashion photography and who's worked with models to develop your modeling portfolio before you even try to submit yourself to a modeling agency. And here's why. A good fashion photographer who works with models will know how to develop you. In case you didn't know this, agencies don't spend their time teaching their models how to model or even develop them directly. Most of the time, your agents will just critique you and tell you what not to do and to stop looking like that or stop doing that, but they don't actually have a clue on how to model in front of the camera. The people who develop models are the photographers. We make models who they are in front of the camera. So when you work with a photographer before you ever even get signed, that means that when you do get signed, you'll be ready to start working immediately because you'll have already built a strong portfolio with a photographer who knows what you need as a model, and you'll have the experience because said photographer, okay, I'm really talking about me here, already taught you how to move in front of the camera and developed you. Usually when you're new, models are placed under what's called a development or new faces board, and essentially during this time period, your agency is going to be sending out to do free test shoots so that you can get developed and you can get new images to put in your portfolio. And a test shoot is basically you exchanging time with a photographer so that both of you guys can get images for your portfolios. So it's a win-win, but it really is not. Most of the time, a photographer is just going to want to try something new that they have in mind, something creative that they want to do. And so you'll get images, but your agency really isn't going to be able to use them, or they're just not that strong and effective for what your goal is as a model, which is to get booked by paying clients that aren't shooting images like this test photographer is. Now, sometimes you'll get good images, but it doesn't mean that you get decent training because these photographers might take good pictures, but they don't really know how to actually develop you or teach you. So you're kind of just like accidentally getting good pictures, if you know what I mean. But most of these photographers are in as much training as you are. That's why they're doing it for free. Just remember, no one who is good at developing your portfolio is going to be doing this for free. Photography is a job. It's someone's business. The only reason why someone would want to shoot for free is generally because they're sexual predators and they want to do something weird and creepy with you. And guess what, guys? There are a lot of sexual predators in the fashion industry. I can make like an entirely separate video series on all of the things that I've known about, but that's a story for another day. Yes, there might be someone who does it for free because they're generally interested in creating portfolio where they're working with models and it's in alignment with what you need as a model, so it benefits them and it benefits you. Those are very rare, especially if they're good. They're very rare. When I was starting out, I was one of those people. Except when I was starting out, my pictures weren't all that good, and I went through a lot of learning curves in order to be the photographer that I am today. It's also important to note too that just because someone charges you for a modeling portfolio and that they're good, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be likely to also be a sexual predator, because there are a lot of photographers that even though you're paying them, they still prey on their models. And it's this whole weird thing that's really corrupt about this industry. But when you come to me to develop your modeling portfolio, I pretty much offer what I call a modeling workshop, because for me, it's not just taking your photos, but it's developing you in front of the camera. It's teaching you how to be confident. It's teaching you how to tap into the mindset of someone that's in front of the camera, not giving a crap about what anybody thinks, and serving different looks and shots, and knowing your angles and your expressions and your body movements, and knowing what a commercial pose is, what an editorial pose is, all of these different intricacies that only someone who has a lot of experience can teach you. And it's developing your mind so that you're emotionally and mentally prepared for what you're about to enter into, because this industry is something else, I'll tell you that. And you need to know how to play the game the right way so that you win, because there's a lot more than just having an agency and letting them get the work for you, but there's the advent of social media that has completely changed the fashion industry, that if you're not tapped into and you don't have a plan as a model to build a social media following, you get left behind and passed on because you're not as cool and relevant as all these other models that look just like you but have more followers. When you work with me, we discuss those things and I teach you so you have an advantage when you're in the industry. You get so much more from me that I know about 99% of other photographers just don't know how to offer, because honestly, they just don't care. They just want to make money. Not all of them, but most of them. But this is the benefit of having all of this done before you even sign to an agency, so you can be prepared not only with a portfolio, but mentally, emotionally, and physically. The fashion industry is not for the weak of mind, so start it out right with the right photographer.